change my outfit.
Sorry.
It's funny. No, it was okay. It was funny. Oops. Are those the feathers I got you last week?
Yeah, the plants in front of the door. Yeah, the ones you guys got me.
Did you guys go and buy your Zon's helms?
No.
Do you use Zon?
I was like,
I know
in the wocket in your pocket? What?
In the wocket in my pocket?
Like, that sounded like a Dr. Seuss question.
Yes.
So, the answer to your question is no, I do not use zones.
I'm at least gonna go buy one.
I'm familiar with the that name, but I don't remember what it does.
I'm about to be a lot poorer.
What is it, like 100 grand?
Yeah.
Gross.
A piece. So, like, I finished it out on PC because I have, like, millions of gold there, but here I think I only have, like, 200k, so it's not gonna work.
Oh no, you only have, like, 120 more K than I do here. I can't save gold I can't save gold to save my life.
On PlayStation, I have a terrible time with it. Okay, so Zon's is when you deal... the 2-item piece is when you deal critical damage with a light or heavy attack, you have a 33% chance to tether your enemy for 10 seconds, as long as you're within 8 meters. Enemies touching the tether take flame damage every 1 second, increasing by 100% per tick, and are afflicted with burning. It can occur once every 20 seconds with scales off the higher of your weapon or spell damage. Blech. That's what I was trying to say. My gosh.
Ah.
Oh, I could buy it with AP.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe that's what I'll do. Yeah. I'll buy it with AP. Because I don't use AP for too much else on PS right now.
And they give that stuff away like candy.
What?
AP.
AP?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you could totally make AP candies. You would just need a 3D print an AP thing, and then use like a food grade silicone mold, and then you could just do just a hardened chocolate coating or whatever. You could make your own AP candies. That's so simple. I'm not doing it, but that's just where my brain went. I've been crafting all day.
I love it. Okay, silencing my laptop as well, because I have been talking back and forth with a couple people. Great. Wait, why did it... Oh, I forgot I can't travel to you, idiot. I'm in Cyrodiil. I gotta go up to the Way Shrine. Dang nabbit.
Yep.
I don't know why you just called us idiots.
No, I didn't call you an idiot. I called me an idiot.
That's not what you said. You said, I forgot I can't travel to you, idiot.
Now, you know I wouldn't do that.
Do I? I don't know.
I hope so. I hope you know.
Sounded like you just did. I'm just saying.
Wow. Wow.
And we're already live, so anybody that might go back and check this later is going to hear you say it. So
that's true.
There's evidence. The internet never lies.
Never, never, never. Right? Never, never, never. Oh, I didn't show you guys my new background on my real quick while I'm traveling to you on my my stream deck. It's a little snuggle pod. Okay. Whoa. Let's see, what do I want to do? How do I want to sit? Do I have it? Sure. Just means it's not going to be in screenshot mode, but that's okay. Khajiit likes to sneak.
We love it when the Khajiit sneak.
What am I doing?
Our Twitch, because I do not have that open yet, like a dum-dum.
Oh, haha, me either.
I was going to say, are you recording, sir?
I am live, yes, but I don't have Twitch up.
Not analytics. Stream manager, please. Hey, drops are on.
For the next 10 minutes.
Oh, bummer. Oh man, I can hardly see us on my stream.
I said welcome to the void.
Yeah.
Here's what I was looking for.
Hey, a sprout girl. You're very consistent. You've been here every week so far.
I was gonna say, hi, Sprout Girl!
I think somebody deserves a Snugpod cookie that Gwen just said she was going to make.
I never said I was making cookies. And I specifically said I won't make AP candy.
Oh, candy. It was candy, not cookies. Yeah, well, you know.
Hold, please. 1 second.
What if I don't want to hold, please?
Okay. Well, then I'll just leave. Oh, goodness. Alright, that's good. This is good. What do I want to add here? Let's add... Oh no. Let's put, yeah. I didn't know that they had that. Stream markers? That'll be great. Okay. That is open. Perfect. Got that there. Got this here. Notes are up. All of those are open. Yes, yes. Great. Ready whenever you guys are.
Let's go.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to A Snugpod Cast. We are in the dark, in case you're wondering.
We're in the void.
Yes, and it's dark in here, and I can't see anything. So I'm not even entirely sure who's with me. I hear voices, but sometimes I hear voices. Okay. Anyway, that voice that you just heard, I think, is Gwen the Bard. Am I right?
You are not wrong.
I am not wrong. I am actually on the left, though, so I guess I'm not right. How are you?
You're on my right.
Well, this is true.
So
This is
I
true.
mean, we're in the void. We can't see. We're in the void.
And in my ear, you sound like you're on both sides. So, you know.
I'm good. I am trying to still stay thrifty and keeping to that gold thing while we're doing the. So I'm using items I already have for the Snugpod, so we're in the void. How are you?
I am doing okay. I had a long nap today, as cats often do, and yeah, so feel okay at the moment. Thought about fixing some coffee, but I was like, it's a little late. Maybe I should just drink water. So I'm being a good kitty and not having coffee, and I will try my best to be a good kitty and remember to not have my eat my cat food while we're doing the show. So if you hear crunching, I'm sorry, I forgot to mute.
He's on a new dry diet.
He was indeed crunching. Like, it is cat food.
Yeah.
Sure is.
Yeah. Anyway, and that other voice that you hear there is none other than Gone Crazy Back Soon. Or have we all gone crazy?
Maybe that's why we're in the void.
No.
We're void of any sense.
Well, that is definitely true. We are void of any sense.
That's accurate.
We
can all agree to that.
Not wrong.
How are you crazy? Tell us how that happened.
Well, a long time ago in 7th grade, my friend came up with this screen name for me, and it's stuck. And it's been so unique, I've kept it for all of these years.
Wow, seventh grade?
And that is how I became crazy.
Wow.
You were labeled as crazy that far back?
Yeah, literally. You know where this screen name came from? A bumper sticker. The bumper sticker that she saw when we were riding together in the car said, "Gone crazy, be back soon." And we decided that "Gone crazy, be back soon" was a little weird, but just "Gone crazy, back soon" made a perfect screen name for a email and instant messenger name. So that's how I became "Gone crazy, back soon," and it has stuck ever since.
Wow.
True story.
Who knew you were getting cast lore to start the show?
Yeah. And the crazy thing, is she was in my wedding when I got married. So, like, we have literally stayed friends our whole lives.
Wow.
She's one of those friends that, like, it's been, like, sometimes it'll be a while and we don't talk. And then when we talk and pick up again, it's just like nothing ever happened. So, like, it's like no time has passed at all. So, yeah, it's pretty fun. Pretty fun with, there's my Gone Crazy lore for you.
There you
That's
go.
some deep crazy lore tonight. All right.
It is deep crazy lore.
Wow. Well, all right. Cool. Well, it looks like we have several things going on within the world of ESO. So I think we can jump into that. But before we do, what have y'all been up to in game?
What haven't I been up to in game?
Well, go first then, Gwen.
So there was a lot of things I had to cancel on because if anyone else lives in the U.S., you might know we've been having some weather. And that canceled. I had to cancel like 3 plans. I had to cancel all of my Friday evening plans, and I almost had to cancel my Lordos plans. But literally by like 30 minutes, I was able to keep my Lordos plans. And I had a blast. I ended up running Halls of Fabrication normal with our PC EU lore seekers, and that was really fun. Little Gwen was only level 31, so I only did the normal with them and not the vet later, because you have to be at least level 50 to do the vet with them. Which, that is still not the lowest I've ever run Halls of Fabrication. The lowest I ever run Halls of Fabrication was level 17.
You're a boss.
And then, and that ended up giving me the last few kills I needed to get my endeavors for the week there. And I just keep reminding myself, don't spend those endeavors, because the next time the Dark Brotherhood crates come around, I can get all my shinies. Just gotta keep reminding myself that. Stay strong. And then I thought that was all I was gonna end up doing in game, besides redecorating the Snugpod, which we are currently in the void because, quick catch up. If you have not been here for a while, I am trying to not spend gold, which is why I want to thank both of you two for the lovely flowers you gave me, because it helped block the door and we can still walk through it. That was amazing. So I was able to do my void build this week, and so we are currently in the void. Who knows what will be in next week, but after the update 45 preview, I'm really hoping to get back to the roots of the Snugpod later, but this week we're in the void while I save gold. And initially I thought that was all I was going to do because I've been so Stuga focused, right? Like, she's just so focused on us, I have to be focused on her. But then I ended up running Archive twice with one of our guildies, and who turned into a lich with legs, and that blew my mind, because I'm like, wait, you're the lich? Wait, you're a lich, got it, cool. I thought it was just polymorph. And then they're summoning undead. I'm like, okay, how are you summoning undead? Explain this to me. This is crazy nonsense. Well, there's these new verses you get in Archive where you can polymorph avatar, I guess they're called avatars, into different things, and those different things do different things. And this one lets you turn into a lich and summon undead, and all of a sudden I'm just like, I need to play Archive more, because you know what? It'd be really fun to run around as like a lich summoning undead, okay? That just let me live out my necromancy dreams. And then I ran it again with Moki, so that was nice. I'm jumping around here, so let me get back to where I was. I had a lot to write down this week. And then over on PC, I guess it doesn't matter really where I've been doing it, I guess, but I have been playing through the stories again, because I was debating if I just want to run through it to get the levels and get the skill points, or if I want to experience it again. And you know what? I decided I was going to experience it again, because it's been a few years. And so I've been going through the 80 quest line, and you know, Naaman isn't half bad. Prince Naaman isn't half bad. But I can totally see how, okay, this is a spoiler if you haven't played through the Orden quest line.
It's been out for 10 years.
But
I think you're okay.
You never know. Maybe some of our EP friends who listen have never played through it, okay? But I guess that's on them since it's been 10 years.
If you haven't played it by now and you're worried about spoilers, just skip ahead a minute or so.
So I just remember starting the game back in the day, because I was playing through this and I'm just having flashbacks to like 10 years ago. And it's been, like I said, it's been a while since I've run these quests. And I'm going through, I guess more like 7 years ago, whenever Morrowind came out, when I played this character, that's when I last did it. And I'm just thinking, wow. You hop off a boat and you're just like, oh, hi, I'm registering, I'm here, okay, yeah, I can register. Oh, you need help with that? Sure, I'll be a good newcomer and help you, do, right? Like any other game, just, yep, I'm helping you. But now I'm like, wait a second, this sounded really fishy. Wait a second, their dialogue also sounds kind of fishy. Wait a second, why is there that extra long pause before a person assassinates someone who says that they just did exactly what they asked them to do? Oh my, why do you want me to hold on to evidence after I found it? Wait, why do you want me to hold on to more evidence after I found it? What? Ah! Clearly, through all of this it's a setup. It's a setup through the whole thing. Clearly it's a setup. We're being set up. Like, you can... Literary analysis. You know you're being set up. And the only option is to go through with the setup, and that bothers me. But,
boy, here we go.
Oh, no. That's it. That's fine. Like, it's fine. Because my first playthrough, I didn't even think of the setup. I was just rolling through with it, right? Like, you know, just, like, as I initially said. So it's like, it's total, it's fine, because it makes sense, because it sets you up for everything else. But yeah, I'm having a blast, because you're going through and you're doing all these things and you're talking to the people, and it's just good re-experiencing it again. I recommend it. That's what I've been doing. What about you, Crazy?
Well...
You've been up to a lot of crazy stuff, haven't you?
I mean, some yes, some no. So, we did another Lore Seekers show. It was under the belt this week, a couple days ago. So that's done. I did a 6-hour stream, but I can't seem to remember if that was before or after last show. So I'll just put it back here again. When update 45 dropped over. Oh, no, that was after. That was after our show. So update 45 dropped, and I did about a 6-hour stream running through doing the new Westfield. Well, they're not new dailies, but doing the Westfield dailies to try and see if I could get some of the new stuff. And I did not get anything initially for like the first little bit. And then a few hours into the stream, I managed to pull the Mirrormore glass harp furnishing, like the gold furnishing, from an incursion. And I was like, maybe I should sell it. And then I looked, and there was only one other one listed on TTC, and it was like 2 million or something like that. And I went, you know what? I'm just going to keep it. So it's in my house on PC right now. It's pretty cool. It's the same thing as the emote that's for it, except it's just a piece in your house. It's like it's a furnishing in your house that anybody can walk up to and just interact with, which is really neat. Then I started farming dailies with Minwee and Toasty for a couple days after that, just to see if we could like do round robin and see if we could get more dailies to pull stuff. And somehow, with my beloved RNG, that I guess makes up for my real life RNG sometimes being poopy, I managed to get 2 of those Dawnwood fence plans, both the long fences. So I gave one to Toasty. Well, he gave me some gold for it, but then that rat tried to turn around and sell it for 1,000,000 gold in chat, which no one took him up on it. But it was kind of funny. So I managed to pull 2 of those Dawnwood fence plans and got really, really lucky with that. I haven't pulled anything else since. So maybe that's the end of my RNG with that for now. I guess we'll have to see. The other thing that I've been busy doing is I actually had the opportunity to represent lore seekers in the ESO Guild Summit that just happened earlier in the week. So it was a few hours of talking with loads of other guild masters and having Rich there and Gina there and a bunch of the devs there, Jess and, just a bunch of devs as well, and going through some of the pain points for guild masters, going through some of the things that people would like to see, hearing about some of the things that they are working on or trying to get going and coming to the game as well, which is nice. And then also a reflection a bit from Rich on what sort of remember how he did that guild last year at some point? There was like a guild survey, and it was asking players like, how many guilds are you in? And, what's your status within the guilds and all of that stuff. Did either of you fill that out?
I don't believe that I did. I don't recall that.
Do you remember doing that, Gwen? Did you have an opportunity to, or was that maybe when you were... That might have been when you were, like, off doing stuffs. Like when you were overseas. I don't recall. But, yeah, there was some cool information that came out of that, too. I don't know if we want to talk about that later, or if... Well, let's talk about that during the guild celebration, when we go into that. Maybe that's a good time to talk about that stuff. But yeah, so I did that, and it's just kind of been a busy week. I took like 8 pages of notes during that. We weren't allowed to record anything or do anything like that, which is understandable, for privacy of everybody who is involved. But there were about 260 other GMs there, I think, and it was from all the platforms, which is really cool. Which is a neat experience. I hope they do more. So yeah.
That sounds cool.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. I think our friend Dragon from PTK was there.
Dragon was there too. Yep.
Yep.
Sure was.
Yep, that's cool.
Yeah, I was like, Dragon! I said hi immediately when they were in the chat, so. Lots of familiar people. Dragon, Baratron from the UESP, who else? Caffeinated Mayhem, the Ninetales were there, of course. A bunch of the other, J-Heart was there. Just loads of different people. Child of Sithis, Adam was there. Just lots of familiar names, right? Who we've crossed paths with, either in person or they've come through Lore Seekers at some point, stuff like that. So it's pretty cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, y'all ready to jump into the news that's been happening?
News time!
Sure.
News time.
Sus. What's sus? What'd I miss, Sprout Girl? What's sus? Was it something that we did? Oh, no. Yes, can hear you fine. Never.
Okay. I asked because I'm sitting differently than usual, so my mic's slightly angled. Anyway.
Oh, the quest in Oridon was what the sus was in response to.
Oh, yes, it was very sus.
Yeah.
All right, well, while the lights may be dead in here, Update 45 is live on PC and Mac.
What a transition.
I know. I thought that was pretty good.
That was pretty good. I'm
So
impressed.
I've been
Well
working on my segue work there. So Fallen Banners and Update 45 is now live for PC Mac players. Y'all want me to read this?
Sure.
Do it.
All right. It says,
Do it now.
"Do it now. Get to the chopper." Sorry. Some of you will get that. Some of you won't because I'm old.
If they understood segue, they understood that.
Defend an Elder Scroll and experience a host of changes and additions to the game with the Fallen Banners Dungeons Pack and Update 45 base game patch. The Fallen Banners Dungeon Pack and free Update 45 base game patch are now live on PC Mac and arrive March 26 for Xbox and PlayStation consoles. In this release, you can save Cyrodiil from plunging further into chaos with 2 new dungeons and experience a host of changes and quality of life additions. You can get access to the Fallen Banners Dungeon Pack at launch via ESO Plus membership. Note that alternative means of acquiring it will be revealed as part of the upcoming ESO Direct on April 10th. Gather your party for 2 challenging new PvE dungeon experiences, Lepseclusa and Exiled Redoubt. Unlock new achievements and earn new rewards including new item sets, collectibles, and more as you fight to preserve what little peace remains in the war-torn region of Cyrodiil. Lepseclusa. The Moth Priests of Lepseclusa are besieged, and the cunning Orphean the Tactician is set on seizing the power of the Elder Scroll they safeguard. You must help Sister Chana defend the sanctuary against an army of deserters, protect its people and secrets, and confront Orpheon before he can use the power of the scroll to forever change the face of Cyrodiil. You can read a preview blog, which we also, I believe, read just a couple weeks back. And then I believe last week we read this one, but Exiled Redoubt. Soldiers of the Alliance War, regardless of their faction, are vanishing, and all trails lead to the Imperial fortress known as the Exiled Redoubt. Team up with the battle mage Lucilla, infiltrate this mysterious stronghold, and put a stop to the schemes of a once noble Imperial house before its chaos can spread beyond its stone walls and throughout Tamriel. New dungeon loot. Those who brave Lepseclusa and the Exiled Redoubt also have a chance to loot and unlock a host of special rewards, such as new collectibles, item sets, and achievements. This includes the Tactician's Gold Lattice skin, earned by completing both dungeons on veteran difficulty. No easy task. At launch, you can access the Fallen Banners Dungeon Pack with an ESO Plus membership. If your ESO Plus membership lapses, you will lose access to the DLC until you renew your membership or acquire it by other means. Note that while at launch, ESO Plus membership is the only way to access the Dungeon Pack, there will be additional ways to acquire it in the future. Stay tuned for more information about the April ESO Direct. Once you have access to Fallen Banners, you can dive right into the 2 new dungeons via the following methods. By teleporting directly into the 2 dungeons from your map, by using the Dungeon Finder tool, or by visiting their specific dungeon entrances within the Hughesbane, Lepseclusa, and Westweld Exiled Redoubt zones. As a base game patch, Update 45 will be automatically downloaded by your game clients when it launches. The base game patch arriving in tandem with the Dungeon Pack in the Update 45 base game patch, a free update for all ESO players that features additions, bug fixes, and improvements to the game. Starter Zone Refresh. To help keep ESO as welcoming to new and returning players as possible, the game's starter zones have received a visual refresh, bringing them closer to the quality of more recent additions. Bleakrock Isle, Balfoyan, Stros Mackay, Betnik, and Canarthy's Roost have each received improvements to their lighting, enhanced ground and water textures, updated structures, and the addition of more clutter or props. Cyrodiil Champions PC Mac Test. ESO Alliance War Veterans can help the team test future changes and iterations on the game's open world PvP with a PC Mac only test called Cyrodiil Champions. With the goal of improving stability and performance in Cyrodiil and perhaps other environments, look for a special Alliance War campaign called Vengeance to participate from March 24th through 31st in 2025. General changes improvement. Along with the above, Update 45 also boosts mount starting speed, overhauls the craft constellation to ease micromanagement, and introduces a general UI cleanup of the in-game map to help improve readability. It also moves the game's disguises out of the inventory and into your collections and improves the visibility of Mundus stone boons. Whew. You can discover more about the updates features in the preview blog. For everything arriving as part of the base game patch, check out the patch notes on the official forums. Don't forget the Update 45 base game patch is free for all ESO players and is downloaded automatically at launch. Gather your party and prepare to delve into 2 challenging new PvE experiences with Fallen Banner's Dungeon Pack. Are you ready to witness the true cost of the Alliance War? Are you excited to make use of the base game patch's various improvements and additions? Let us know on socials.
Okay. So, I'm not going to give any spoilers, but all I'm saying is Lepsaclusa is awesome. I immensely enjoyed that dungeon. The story was good, the visuals were cool, and that's all I'm gonna say because I don't want to say anything about mechanics. I only ran it on normal, but man, I liked it. And the visual changes, like I went to Canarthy's Roost, and it happened to be nighttime, and I just stopped and stood on a bridge and took pictures because it was so pretty. The new lighting and the water textures, everything is great. I cannot wait for it to hit console because I actually think there are some places that my PlayStation takes better screenshots than my my laptop does. So I'm super stoked to see what it's going to look like for us on PS5. I think it's going to be stunning.
You and I had different experiences because you're like, oh, Canarthy's Roost was gorgeous. And I'm like, Canarthy's Roost actually looks like it got hit by a hurricane now.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's true. Out on the coast, it definitely does. I agree with you. But like when I ran into, the town at night where all the lighting and stuff is, that's where I was the most impressed. I didn't really do the beach too much. I did run along the beach and kind of notice all the additional clutter, which is great because, yeah, it does look like it was actually hit by something.
I was running through the tutorial and everything. I'm like, all right, we'll run over. Why can't I just walk through here right now? Why is there wood here?
See, I
all right, well, we'll go around this. We'll go this way. It's like, why is there wood here? There is part of a ship in my walkway. Excuse me?
I'm dying, Gwen.
I was just raging all over that beach. Don't get me wrong, it was great. I'm like, this place looks like it got hit by a hurricane. Like, I know it's supposed to, but it actually looks like it got hit by a hurricane now. Anyway.
You're the best. Oh, man. So there you go. Can't wait for people to see it on console. Coming soon. What is it, 10 days? 10 days from now. 10 days from now. So.
Magics.
But in the meantime, you can play for free. You can play the game for free. The base game, that is.
Which includes Morrowind now, which includes Halls of Fabrication.
Woo. What were you going to say, Never?
I actually was going to ask what all is included in the base game at this point.
I believe base game is all the way up through
Morrowind. It's just Morrowind. Basic Morrowind, not counting Clockwork City. Correct. But Morrowind. So Morrowind minus Warden and Clockwork City is part of base game. However, Halls of Fabrication is part of base game Morrowind, so it is part of base game. So it is a trial you can play with just base game.
Yeah, but in all honesty, if you're interested in the game, I'm gonna be honest. Go ahead and just nab the collection right now, because the collections are insanely discounted. They're like 70% off, which actually, is that even in here anywhere that we're talking about?
Yes, we'll get to it.
Yes, we'll get to it later, but just, yeah, we'll talk about it later.
So goodness. Basically, if you're unsure, you've got, what are the dates? The free play event on March the end of the event on March 20th.
Yeah, so it's about 4 more days.
Yeah. So if you're listening now, Sunday, then you've got a few more days. If you're not sure, jump in, check it out. No cost. If you like what you see, then we'll talk about ways that you can pick it up so you can have it beyond just the free play event here in a bit. But honestly, the amount of stuff that you get up through Morrowind is pretty substantial. So to be able to check that out for free is pretty sweet. So definitely, if you've been on the fence and you're like, I don't know if an MMO is for me. I like Elder Scrolls, but I don't know about that kind of gameplay. It is different, so it is something that it probably would be smart to check out now while you can do it without having to pay for it. You might be surprised if you've got some friends that you think might want to jump into it with you. Then have them tag along.
It is different. The dragons Fusro you, you don't Fusro them.
That's right.
This is true. Yeah, so full disclosure, if you're coming from a game like Skyrim like I did, don't expect this to be Skyrim Online. It's not.
Nope.
Don't choose the Ebonheart Pact. You will be disappointed. You end up in lava, not snow.
That's right. Don't be like Gwen.
Don't make my mistake. Don't make my mistakes.
So, but it does have, the lore that you're familiar with. It's got a lot of that. And this game does actually get to build upon the existing lore. So there's a lot of stuff that you can learn if you're into that kind of thing. If you are, you should check out the Lore Seekers. We'll talk about that later too.
Yeah, you should.
But yeah, I don't guess we really need to read this word for word. It's pretty straightforward. Just game's free right now. Go play it.
Or if you wanted to start an account on a different platform.
Yes.
That too.
Hey, I could go start my account on PC. Except I don't have a PC.
We know you won't.
You could.
Yeah, I don't have a PC that would run it. I'd have to stream it through like GeForce Now or something. So, anywho, all right.
That's it.
That's it.
Next.
Checking things off the list. So Guild Celebration. This is an in-game event.
It is. It's kind of a thing that's going on for a little bit. There's a couple different things going on. So there's some stuff in game. There's a recruitment fair that's happening in Discord, and then there was also the Guild Summit.
Very cool.
Okay, you want to tell us about it?
Sure. So, well, let's go over the article really quick, and then I'll get to the Guild Summit after that. So this says, discover and connect with communities of like-minded players ready to aid you throughout your adventures during the 2025 ESO Guild Celebration. The time you spend with other players can be one of the most rewarding aspects of the Elder Scrolls Online. And from now until March 21st, the ESO Guild Celebration will make it easier than ever before to foster those connections. See what's going on with this new celebration and how to participate below. I'm not going to read about the Guild Summit because it already passed, but there are some guild endeavors that are actually happening as well. So if you enjoy taking part in guild-themed in-game activities from now until the Guild Celebration conclusion, you can complete a special daily and weekly endeavor to score extra rewards. So March 10th already went by, but it was complete 3 trials with a guildmate. March 17th, complete 4 battlegrounds with a guildmate, so that's tomorrow. And then the daily endeavors that happened as well were today, if you did 2 stages of the Infinite Archive with a guildmate, you got extra. And then for 20th, on March 20th, if you complete 1 dungeon with a guildmate, you also get 30 extra Seals of Endeavor and some additional XP, which is really, really cool. So if you finish both weekly endeavors and all 3 daily endeavors, you actually have gotten over 500 Seals of Endeavor, 3,000 bonus XP, and a little bit of gold. So pretty cool. The guild recruitment fair that's happening is going to be happening in Discord March 18th and running until the 21st. They're hosting basically a virtual recruitment fair where players can actually browse through a forum and learn more about the different guilds in game. The recruitment channels as well, that I believe are like forum style channels, are going to be from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Tuesday, March 18th, and then Wednesday, March 19th from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m., and on Thursday, March 20th, and Friday, March 21st. So same times for those. If you are unable to attend either recruitment drive, don't worry, there's still lots of guilds listed in the forums, as well as on their socials. So they put out a fun little guild profile for us to be able to post on social media. So we actually, in the Lore Seekers, responded to ESO's actual initial threads with it, as well as I'm going to post it on the forums, and then we also put it on our own Lore Seekers socials too. So if you're interested in seeing kind of what the guild does, or maybe you're looking for a guild, it's got the information there of how to find us, which is fun. It's a cute little like guild profile thing with the different alliance banners, or like the different alliance symbols, I mean. And then it's got like a bunch of guildies down in the corner, which is fun. Different people from the main story, which is cool. So yeah, this is basically a time to like look into connecting with guilds and things like that if you've ever been interested in being in a guild. So, why all the push for guild stuff and finding communities? That's one of the things that we talked about at the actual guild summit, which was pretty cool. So, during the guild summit, we had the opportunity, like I said earlier, to hear from Rich a little bit, to hear from some of the other devs, and from Gina. But one of the things that was cool that Rich went over right at the top of the guild summit was he actually talked about the previous guild survey and the responses of the people who filled it out. So he was saying that the vast majority of people who responded to said questions, about 90% of them are in multiple guilds, and the interesting fact about that was that those guilds are fairly large, so guilds with more than 100 players. Shared interest was the number one answer for why people were in guilds, right? And then the number one thing that people were asking for, beyond the current guild sort of footprint that we have, was additional communication tools and management tools to be able to start their own guild or to be able to run a guild. Discord, of course, came back as the number one place where guild stuff happened, according to that survey. And something interesting that he mentioned kind of right off the top was that guilds have sort of morphed from what their initial reasoning was for being in the game. So it's not that they didn't think that people would use guilds for the social aspect. They knew that they would. But from a gaming development perspective, really the reason that guilds came into play was because it gave them a mechanical reason for markets and trade. So it allowed them to have groups of people who were able to trade and do stuff together without having to have like one large auction house where players all traded individually. So I thought that was pretty cool to know sort of what it's morphed into over time, from what just like the, okay, how are we going to do trade? Well, let's do it via guilds. I thought that was kind of cool to know sort of what the beginnings were, I guess, and sort of look at where it's at now, which is why they have had this focus a little bit on guilds, because they're looking at like planning stages for a lot of new stuff. There were quite a few devs who were at the guild summit as well, and the reason that they were there was because they wanted to hear what the GMs who were present were talking about and what they felt were kind of these big pain points and things that they want to fix or have fixed or use for how they run their guilds. And I thought that was pretty cool. No promises were made at all, which again doesn't surprise me, but it was nice to get some basic feedback directly from Rich and directly from some of those people. So I thought that was pretty cool. One of the things that Rich mentioned that they were looking into is, and this is going to be super basic because I don't want to speak for him or for ZOS and their development in general, right? Because things can always change. But one of the things that he mentioned that's very, very important to them that they have been looking at, that they know are issues that guild masters and other people have brought up, is being able to search for guilds by name in the guild finder. That is like something that is on the radar I don't want to say a priority, but like one of the things that they know is a big pain point. And then also being able to communicate with guild members easier and having additional tools that you can use within your guild, like things for scavenger hunts, raffles, a calendar, just sort of these tools that people typically use Discord and stuff outside for, but that could make it easier for people in game. The other things that they know about that came up a lot, guild banks, guild halls, right? Those are all things that are potentially difficult due to performance issues. And they're not things, they are things that are on a wish list, but may not be as easily attainable as some of the other pain points, if that makes sense. So, after that, after Rich talked, they did like a little guild Q&A, which was pretty cool because they took actual questions that we had posted. Some of them were really off topic, unfortunately. It was like, try and stick to guild stuff. And then people were asking about all sorts of things. We were all over the place. We talked about hybridization and we talked about leaderboards, which do relate to guilds. Like both of those things do relate to guilds, right? Especially if they're trials guilds, stuff like that. But there was quite a few questions that could be related to guilds, but felt a little broad for what they were looking for. So they did a little Q&A after that. And then at the end, the cool thing that they did was they did these sort of breakout sessions. So they had a Guildmaster 101, which they took some seasoned GMs and they allowed them to speak on sort of how to set up a guild, how to run a guild, what are some basic like best practices, stuff like that. And they allowed other people to be able to ask questions that maybe weren't as experienced to those people. And I thought that was pretty cool. And then they also had a little breakout session for events. And, what are some events that you've used for your guild? What are ways to maintain interaction and community? And what events have worked best for you and all that stuff. So that was pretty cool. And there was a whole little forum that came out of that have ideas for people for guild events and whatnot. So some really good stuff out of there. I think is cool. The only other thing that I would touch on, I sort of touched on it on Lore Seekers a little bit as well, and I thought that these were really nice answers from Rich. One of them had to do with tabards, because we all know fashion is endgame, right? Somebody was like, Rich, are we ever going to be able to hide tabards? And he literally like sighed. He was like, I want to tell you that that is easier than it is. It's not easy. It's like, he said it's one of those things that making one change can affect so many other things that it has been something that's on the radar, but it's going to take a lot of work because the tabard basically right now functions as like an on-off switch in your inventory. Put it in your inventory, turns on the nameplate. Take it out of your inventory, turns off the nameplate. So there's a lot more to it than what we visually see from a development side. But it was at least nice to have a bit of an answer. Like, it wasn't a no.
That's not an answer.
It wasn't a no, it's not happening. But it wasn't a yes, I'm doing that right away. It was like, this is something that we know people want, and it's something that we would like to look into, but it also is something that's, I think his quote was, it's a house of cards. So like, changing one thing affects multiple other things in how inventory and how all of that goes. So, yeah.
It seems like that should be maybe just separated. You can have guild tabards like just as a cosmetic item that you put on and take off, and just have an option for what displays on your nameplate as an option for your nameplate.
Yeah, but that doesn't really hide the tabard.
Well, you just don't put it on.
You just don't need tabards,
right?
You just have it as a nameplate. That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah,
and separate it.
And that was brought up too. Like, what if it was like a title, and he said it's a very similar issue. right? Like it's definitely an idea, right? But it affects a bunch of other stuff in terms of how the character appears. So, and what like systems it uses for that. So, I don't know. Don't shoot the messenger, right? I'm just telling you kind of what was discussed there. But for me, you could tell that it was like personally, I thought it felt like it looked like, oh, that is a bit of a frustration for Rich too. Like he gets it, you know? So I don't know. The other big question, can you guess what it was? Like the other one that I would bring up right now?
Searching.
Crossplay.
Search for names.
Nope, it wasn't search for names. And no, crossplay was brought up, but nobody brought it up in person. It was listed in the forum.
I only said that because you said it was supposed to be about guild stuff, but it went off the rails.
Yeah.
It's not guild related at all.
It wasn't like fully off the rails, it was just a little off the rails. Nope, it wasn't either of those. I'll give you one more guess.
Oh, I have no other hands. I
other hands?
I have no idea. No idea.
Mm.
Limitations. Go ahead.
Is it a guild related thing?
It is.
You started to say limitations.
Mm-hmm.
Number of guilds.
That's it. Right there. You got it. Limitations on number of guilds and number of guild slots. So, this one kind of blew my mind a little. So, the example that was talked about initially was, think about all the connections that every player character has to have and how many millions of player characters there are in the game, right? So, like, one of the examples that was given was stuff has to do with guild bank slots, basically. You have to think of it from the storage perspective. When they made that mail change a little while back that everybody was like, ugh, with traders and mail and all that stuff, there were a few reasons for it. And some of it was data storage for the game to make the game run smoother. There were some accounts that had 50,000 mail messages in them, which meant that their mail storage for player characters was in like the terabyte range. Like big amounts of data just stored that weren't being used for anything but were having to be recalled every time a player character loaded or every time that a guild loaded, right? We're talking big amounts of data. After they changed that storage piece and the trader listings as well, because they figured out that, well, most people, if they're going to sell stuff at a trader, it's usually within the first 3 days, and then it just sits there stored, right? Which is why some of those mail changes happened as well. It went from terabytes to gigabytes, which is kind of wild to think about a little bit from a data storage perspective. That also goes for guild limits. So if you're a player that's in 5 guilds, and those 5 guilds have 500 people, every time you load in, it has to refresh all of those connections on all 5 of your guilds, which means that each player has roughly 25, 100 or 25, whatever that math is, connections that always have to be run every time. If you have a maxed out guild, it's calculating all of that by player, by guild, by their 5 guilds, by all of their friends, by all of that stuff. So, like, if we were allowed 10 guilds, that spider web would become even more massive, which would mean that back-end calculations that are being done are crazy, like, even more. So really what it boils down to is they felt like, well, number 1, Rich's predecessor, just like the number 5. But also, it had to do with a development thing from how much the player stuff was going to spiderweb out when it came to, those connections and how they're run and what the servers are actually doing, right? And some of that has to do with the fact that we're set up on mega servers. So it's a little bit different than some other MMOs that have individual servers, right? So storage options and things like that makes a big difference. The other thing, too, is add-ons, right? Like, there's a lot of add-ons that sabotage performance because they scrape all of those connections every time. Imagine if someone had 10 guilds each time. Like, there's a lot of things that could could affect that. But I thought that was some kind of crazy, for me, as someone who's never been on a game development side of anything, for me, just thinking about that, it was like, oh, I kind of get it. Like, yes, I wish there could be more done, but also I kind of see where they're coming from now, from that perspective, in terms of how the servers are under load and what they're processing every time someone opens a guild menu. So that's pretty crazy to me. So, yeah, I don't know. That's kind of the two of the biggest things that were, I guess, most surprising to me. That, and then talking about guild houses, you know, it's like, that's a want, everybody wants it, you know, but it's difficult because if you have a guild with 500 people, that means you have to feasibly be able to make somewhere where 500 people could show up. And players are expensive in terms of data and in terms of how much they pull. So having 500 people all in one space would be like being in the middle of Greyhouse Cyrodiil, you know, on a day where all three alliances are fighting each other. Like, that could get really rough. So, I don't know. But I thought it was interesting. I know there's some people that went and they're like, meh, I didn't really get too much out of it. For me, I thought it was cool to hear how other people run their guilds. And also, on one hand, it made me go, man, we run Lore Seekers a little differently than some other people run their guilds. But not in a bad way. Just in a different sort of way. You know? So, it's kind of cool. Yeah.
It's interesting. There's some of that I can see. There's some of that I'm not quite sure about. I don't know that you necessarily have to have it to where 500 people can be in a house at once. Just
well, yeah, but
just more than you need than just in a trial group.
Right. I agree. I think they look at it though from the perspective of if they don't build it for the full guild, then what makes it a guild house?
Well, I think being able to have be able to contribute to it would probably be maybe a bigger thing than. I mean, I think it's unrealistic that you'd be trying to get all 500 people in there at once.
Well,
the majority of the time anyway. But, you know, for example, we use my primary as kind of the guild hall for Lore Seekers on PlayStation because it's got the most stuff in it. It doesn't have everything nearly as much as a lot of the big guild GMs have. But, you know, if you had something that would be useful that you wanted to put in there, instead of having to give it to me, you could just go put it in there because of course, I guess the argument there is that it's my house and you put something in there, do you get it back? And
Yep,
you know,
that was one of the things that was mentioned was
right.
How do you legally deal with real life money or not even real life money, what someone feels is valuable in game, right? Even if it hasn't been purchased with actual funds.
Yeah.
Who owns that space, right? Who owns it?
I think that's just sort of in a sense, an unwritten contract, maybe that if you know people in the guild say, if I'm willing to give this, I'm willing to not have it. You know, so you hope that your guild masters are not, you know, bad players, I guess, and run off and take everything. But
never. You gave me a crazy idea.
Did I?
You did. You just prompted my brain to have like a weird brainstorm. So I have been learning about guilds because of all this. And it's one of those, what? You have to have a certain number of players before you can have a guild bank? Well, what if you had to have a certain number of players in your guild and then you could, like, just have a guild house?
Yep, that would be a great thing. Like once you're at over 50 or over 100.
Yeah.
There was
and you get a house. And it's not like a house, it's just a guild house that's attached to the guild in numbers like how the bank is. So no one's spending any currency on it, but you have to have like you said, like 100 people, and then you would have this house.
So would you have
Then
like
what happens? Go ahead, never.
I was just going to say, would you have a pre-selected list of houses that were just all the same no matter what?
Yeah, you could, or you could just have a big open field with like a structure that you choose from, like a style structure.
Okay.
My big thing is if you're gonna work it that way, then what happens when people like put Mundus stones in there and suddenly your guild cap falls below what the house number is? Is it like the bank and it locks and goes away? Because that's a problem. That's the issue that you would have with that. But that is a great idea. I love that idea. They would just have to figure out how they were going to treat it.
If you were going to take it out of being an individual player's home, I suppose, I mean, you could just have houses that were available. They'd need to be available just as gold, no crown store, none of that stuff. But just in-game gold, and then everybody contributes towards being able to buy the guild house.
Yeah.
I think you probably run into a significant decrease in options. So I mean, you'd lose out on some of the uniqueness of what we have now, where
what we have now is not unique. Never. What we have now is not unique. Because in order to choose a guild house now, you have to choose. You are required, especially if your guild is active to any actual degree, to have one of the one of the houses that are purchasable with actual money. Because you need to have it so you can have more than 12 people in there at once, and unless you play a ridiculous amount or have been around for a while, like, yes, nowadays we have a couple other options. We have a couple bigger houses that have been given to us for free or along with events, but like back when you founded your island, you had to buy that. You'd had to spend money to purchase something that could be used as a proper guild house, and you only had like 2 or 3 options, tops. It was already limited. It is already limited.
Right.
You have no options now.
Well,
so there is already no option.
what I mean by the uniqueness is that when you come to my Grand Topal Hideaway and you go to somebody else's Grand Topal Hideaway, they can be laid out in very different ways. Whereas if you go the route of it being an in-game purchase for a guild, unless you also somehow include functionality to add things to it, move things around, then it's just going to be a static thing that, no matter what, it just looks like that. That's what I meant by the uniqueness. It's just the way that we have, your Snugpod doesn't look like anybody else's. Your Snugpod doesn't look like your Snugpod from one week to the next. So
that's because I go out of my way to do that.
Right.
But I've been to a few different islands, and even though people think they're being unique and doing something crazy and blah blah blah, they all look the same. They're all just a beach that you. Why the hell can you not summon a horse in this beach? Because no one wants to be on this beach, and everything's either right by the door on this beach, or you have to run for 2 minutes to get to all the amenities on this beach, and it's all on the beach. They're all the same.
Well, I didn't know I was opening a can of worms. Sorry, guys.
You did not open a can of worms. The notes were lovely. Thank you for sharing. I was looking forward to hearing all of that.
Well, there's a lot more too, right? But again, some of it is things that I think it's better for Zoss to share than for us to share. So, yeah, we'll see. But it was pretty cool. I don't know. There's a lot of talk of some cool stuff and some ideas that I'd never heard before, which I thought was interesting. Oh, I do have one more thing. This one's a lore thing, or an RP thing, which is why I think the 3 of us will appreciate it. Accessing your bank from a guild house.
Oh, you should absolutely.
About damn time.
Yeah.
Nope. It's not happening. So here's why. It's a game philosophy. Think about this. Think about the solo player. if a solo player was able to have every amenity in their home, would they ever go into the world?
Oh, they've already said this before.
Right?
This is just a repeat.
Right. So the whole thing about accessing a guild bank from a store or a hall or your little merchant thing, part of the reason why they don't want to do that is because they don't want everything replicated within a house. Because if it is, then players have no reason to go to towns or cities or make the world feel lived in. And I mean, I'm not going to lie, I kind of agree with it. I like going into the bank and seeing other players in there. I like being in the middle of a town. And yes, it's a convenience thing, but, like, it's an MMO.
Do you? Because you complain about people being in the way of your screenshots all the time.
I do, but I don't typically take screenshots in the bank.
So, I see that side of it. I do. You don't want everybody to be locked away in player home, and if you get a new player that's running around and they're like, is anybody playing this game? I don't see anybody here, because people that are playing are either doing trials or dungeons, or they're in their houses, because they've already done all the questing and they have no need to be out and about.
Right.
But I think one compromise for that would be maybe you only can access. Well, yeah, I guess that wouldn't work. I was going to say maybe you could only access your primary guild bank, or if you're a GM of a guild, that's the one you can access, but you can't access all of your other guild banks. So you'd still need to go out for that. But
see, our brain is still on the whole having an actual guild house, and it would make sense that you could access that guild's bank in that guild house. But if it's not that guild house, then there's no bank. And so if we don't have guild houses, then why would there be that bank?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see that too.
Yeah, I mean it's not the most convenient thing, but I don't find the guild banks to be too terribly, inconvenient to have to deal with, because I tend to do all of my things at Vivek City, and everything's outdoors, so you don't have to go through any load screens or anything to get to anybody. Like all of the crafting stations, the writ turn-ins, the guild, there's a bank and a merchant, and everything is just right there outdoors, in a nice little area. So it's not too big of a deal to go do that.
Yeah. So that's it. That's all I've got to share for now. If other things ever come up in the future or announced, that would be stuff that we can talk about then. But in the meantime, those were the ones that I know people in our actual guild had brought up before. And the Tabards question was going to be the one that was one of the ones that I was going to actually ask if I was able to verbally ask a question. And some other people had already done it.
Could we just get more tabard colors and symbols?
We did talk about that too, and Rich actually was like, yeah, I'd love to do that. That is, again, that's one of those things that it's yes, it's been noticed. Someone was asking about what about, being able to combine things together, and he's like, listen, I would rather make new than go back and refix old. He's like, it's always better to add than adjust. So,
well, adding's easy. You just tack on stuff. Adjusting sucks.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Again, that's and I'm massively summarizing, so please don't think those are Rich's words. Here's what I'll say about this entire segment. I'm giving you a summary of how I understood what was being conveyed to all of us. So please don't go after the devs or whatever for anything that we've been discussing. It's just one of those things where they said, yes, you can share some of these things with people, and if people have questions about it, feel free to share what the summit was about, because they want people to know what was talked about too, which is cool. So yeah,
got it. No sharpening pitchforks.
No pitchforks, no torches.
No,
not yet.
But I have that costume that lets me pull out a torch.
No.
You do. You have the treasure hunter. No pitchforks. No pitchforks. No pitchforks.
I like forges.
And torches until after April 10th. Once we hear what's happening.
Sometimes when I'm eating candles, I like to use a forge.
Why are you eating candles?
You know, I eat flames with a forge.
No, nope. Vestige had
Moving on!
I don't know what's happening.
Not touching this. Moving on. Next!
April 10th, there's gonna be the ESO Direct. Woo!
Correct me if I'm wrong before we read this.
Yes.
I thought I remembered them saying that the update 45, the new dungeons and stuff, were going to be available with other means at console launch.
They said after
Did they?
console
Okay.
launch. Sometime.
Yeah. Yeah, it was after. It was
Okay.
eventually, which they never gave us a date, and they never gave us, like, an exact. It was just at launch. It wouldn't.
Yep.
So we just assumed after console launch. That was not confirmed.
Okay.
Yeah. And I figured it would be after the ESO Direct because that's what makes the most sense, because that's when they're going to talk about some of the other things that are happening, and I think that sort of footprint is lumped into that. So, yeah. Anyway, who wants to talk about the ESO Direct? Because I just talked a bunch.
I just read a lot. I did just, like, listen to you both read a lot of things, so I'll read this one.
Okay.
Watch the 2025 ESO Direct and learn about the future of Tamriel. Not ominous at all, but that background looks so ominous. The ESO Direct is April 10th at 12 p.m. PDT, 3 p.m. EDT, or 8 p.m. BST at twitch.tv/Bethesda. So if you are Central Time like me, it'll be at 2 in the afternoon. Tune in this April to discover what's coming to ESO in 2025 in a special live stream followed by the first episode in a new, kind of funny ESO podcast series. 2025 ESO Direct. Get ready for the 2025 ESO Direct live on Thursday, April 10th, 2025 at 3 p.m. Eastern Time Zone as studio head Matt Führer and the team showcase the Elder Scrolls Online's bright future. Learn about the changes coming to ESO, to the game, to fresh as we share the new and exciting adventures you can discover this year. We bring big plans for ESO in 2025, so be sure to tune in. Immediately following the ESO Direct, community managers Gina Bruno and Jessica Felsom will also host a special post show together. They'll recap the big news and dive deeper into some of the major base game changes coming with update 46 and beyond. 46? We haven't even got 45 yet. Anyway, 2025 ESO Direct. When? Thursday, April 10th, 2025. Time? 3 p.m. Eastern Time Zone. Where? Twitch.tv/Bethesda or YouTube. Asterisks. 2025 ESO Direct post show. When? Thursday, April 10th, 2025. Time? Immediately following the ESO Direct. Where? Twitch.tv/Bethesda, not the YouTube. Live stream reward, items, and collectibles. Twitch drops will be enabled during both live streams, so don't forget to link your accounts before the show kicks off. If you view the ESO Direct on Twitch, you will earn 150% XP scroll after watching for 15 minutes. There will also be a separate drop available during the post-show, allowing you to earn a skill respect scroll after viewing for 30 minutes. In addition to the drops, keep an eye out for a special shareable reward code during the live stream that will allow you to unlock the 10-year anniversary monkey in-game pet. This charming creature, inspired by the beta monkey from a decade ago, is gilded and gussied up for the big show. Don't miss out. Kinda Funny podcast. Finally, we also are thrilled to announce a collaboration with Kinda Funny on a new limited podcast series. Together, the Kinda Funny game will be joined by the ESO development team to talk about the game's 10-year journey. There will be 4 episodes in total, with the first going live on Friday, April 11th, the day after the ESO Direct. Tune in this April. Get ready for a host of reveals and fun with the 2025 ESO Direct. The asterisk. The Twitch drop rewards will be available only for those watching on Twitch with linked accounts. There we go.
So make sure that your account is linked, because sometimes they unlink themselves for stupid reasons.
Yeah, that's really annoying.
I have, knock on wood, not had it happen more than one time. But just in case, make sure that you check it. Check it. Check your stuff.
April 10th. That's a Thursday? Is that right? Yeah, okay.
That feels like an eon away, and it also feels like next week.
Yep. And if you want to get a reminder about it and you happen to be in the Lore Seekers Guild, there's an event created for it currently at the top of the guild. So you can just click interested and it'll notify you when it's going live.
Mind you, you should have your Discord pings on if you want to actually get that notification.
Yes. Yes. We try not to ping too much. So
you can control your pings with Discord.
You can, which is great. Lovely.
All right. Well, and as we said earlier, there are, if you're interested in getting into the game, after you've played for free, right? They've got some discounts going on. So, good opportunity to pick those things up. I guess I can read this one if you want. Or did you have anything else to add to the last thing before we move on?
Negative. All yours.
I guess there's not really much to add. We don't know anything. So, okay. So, discover deep deals on ESO Gold Road and base game with the 2025 March sale. Turn toward Tamriel and walk through Westfield thanks to great savings. Find the deal that's right for you. The 2025 March ESO sale is now live, bringing great savings for the Elder Scrolls Online Gold Road chapter at up to 70% off, and the Elder Scrolls Online Standard Edition at up to 90% off, depending on the platform. These seasonal deals are available across various platforms, including Xbox, PlayStation, and PC Mac, through their various stores. The Elder Scrolls Online Standard Edition offers the full ESO base game, which includes 4 of the game's classes, Sorcerer, Nightblade, Templar, and Dragon Knight, 24 unique zones to explore, and access to ESO's PvP game modes such as the Battlegrounds and the Alliance War. You can also enjoy these savings on all versions of the Gold Road Chapter, Collection, Deluxe Collection, Upgrade, and Deluxe Upgrade, allowing you to explore the wilderness of Westfield, traverse the many paths of fate, and master the art of scribing. Check out the dates listed below to know when the 2025 March sale will be live on your platform of choice, including specific editions. Update for March 14th. Please note that a prior version of the article incorrectly included a sale on the Standard Edition through the ESO store. We apologize for the confusion. So for Xbox, you can get the Standard Edition from March 11th through the 24th. You can get both the Standard and Gold Road from March 11th through the 24th. PlayStation, you can get Gold Road from March 12th through March 26th. The Elder Scrolls Online Store. Is that the one that they said that? This is a prior version. Standard Edition. Okay. Gold Road from March 13th through March 20th on the ESO store. The Steam store has the Standard Edition from the 13th through the 20th and Gold Road also. Check your preferred platform retailers to confirm sale details. Head over to the Buy Now page to get a hold of these discounts and set yourself up for savings on your next adventure. Don't forget about the ongoing free play event. If you want to try before you buy, you'll be able to continue your adventure with no loss of progress by picking up the base game or any Gold Road edition. That is a good thing to make note of, because I don't think we touched on that. If you play it for free, it's not like a demo where you play it and then if you decide that you want to play more and you buy the game, that you'll have to start over and redo everything you've already done. It's all linked to an account. So once you've started playing, whether you buy the game 2 years from now, you're still going to have that progress, unless they decide to purge servers of dormant players or something like that. But your progress does carry over from your trial into the full game purchase. So just something to keep in mind there.
I love that. That makes me happy.
Yeah. Yep. So with some games I've played demos of, and it's like, okay, I've got a decent enough feel of this after an hour. It's like, I don't want to get too far in, because if I decide I want to play it, I don't want to have to do all of this stuff again. It's like, I'll just wait, and if I pick it up, I'll do it then. And but this, if you decide that you want to try it for free and you put 20 hours in the next few days, well, that's 20 hours that you get to keep. So no loss there. And they didn't have prices, but they said 70 to 90% off depending on the version. Is that right?
Yeah, so I think PlayStation is running around the 70, but I noticed on Steam the other day you could get stuff for as cheap as like $3.
Yeah, Steam has crazy good sales.
Yeah, I think you could pick up like the entire base game up through Morrowind for less than $5 the other day, which was wild. So
the base game goes on sale for it goes on sale on PlayStation for next to nothing pretty regularly too. So yeah. Well, that does it for the news. Mm-hmm. We have a little bit of lore.
A little bit of lore.
A little bit of lore.
Is there a reason why you chose this one?
We have a Khajiit sitting with us. Basically, I was running around Khenarthi's Roost, right? We were talking about this. I was running around Khenarthi's Roost, and in the building, there's this book, and they're explaining all the honorifics and everything for the Khajiit, and I'm just like, well, we have a Khajiit. We actually know a lot of Khajiit. Maybe we should learn about the honorifics, and maybe there's other people who don't understand all the honorifics for the Khajiit, and it might just be a good one. However, it is also written by a Khajiit, so our host who's good at the Khajiiti voice should read it.
Okay. Khajiiti Honorifics by Lady Radura Dra of Torval, Southwest Elsewhere, representative to the Talmor. An informational guide to Khajiiti naming conventions. Have you met Headmaster Tanyan? A most polite and correct Mer, who was horrified when I informed him that he'd applied a most improper suffix to my name instead of the appropriate Dra. To spare him further embarrassment, we shall not go into details, but ask me sometime after I've had a couple glasses of tawny port. So it seemed like a good idea to this one to compile a list of the most common Khajiiti name titles, at least the proper ones, for the benefit of the College of Aldmeri Propriety and all our new allies from Somerset and Valenwood. Feminine honorifics. Dra is a title of respect awarded to one known for her wisdom and wit, or as a consolation to one who has achieved a venerable age. I prefer to think that in my case, it is the former condition that applies. Daro is for one who has achieved excellence in nimble manipulation of loose articles, such as a small decorative object and unattached coinage. It may also be awarded to one who is the lithe of tongue. Do is for one who has earned renown as a warrior, usually male, but occasionally, too occasionally in this one's opinion, a female. Go is an appellation for respected healers, mages, and scholars, and is sometimes added to the names of learned ancestors. Perhaps once this one has passed on, her children will refer to her as Radurako? Well, it is a word thought. La is an oh-so-fleeting title applied to graceful maidens who are unmarried or behave as if they were. This one remembers fondly when she was Radura La, just last year, no?
Ma is for a young child of either gender a term of endearment, except when it is shouted or snarled. Masculine honorifics. Dar is perhaps the most ancient of all Khajiiti titles, an appellation earned by those who are nimble in fingers and wits, and are both inquisitive and acquisitive. I have heard that it is also sometimes applied to politicians, but such usage would be surely jocular, and never employed by me, sweetness. Do is an honorific for one who has earned distinction on the field of battle or in personal duels. Beware of those strutting lions who apply the title to themselves, not waiting for others to award it. Dro is a title applied to wise elders, patriarchs, grandfathers, and those who walk too slowly in front of one in the marketplace. Jo is an appellation for respected physicians, scholars, mages, though it is frequently adopted by charlatans and mountebanks. I remember a handsome dark panther in Corinth who wanted to sell me a string of enchanted pearls, but that is a story for another moon. Ra is for an esteemed leader of soldiers, trade, or governance. A Katra often has a harem of kitten lass, sometimes ostentatiously so, especially if he is making up for a deficiency in his short tail. Ri is a title rarely awarded, as it is reserved for great leaders of our people, speakers, kings, and maids, and perhaps for a virile lover whilst wrestling amongst the pillows, or so I have heard. This one has also heard that among the faddish youth of Alabaster it is the fashion to place honorific before name rather than after. Radura Dra likes to be fashionable, but she fears she cannot approve of this practice, as it will tend to make Khajiiti names sound far too alike. That would be boring, and we do not wish to be boring, yes?
That's a fun one.
Mm-hmm. It's one of those ones you read it and then it disappears off the table, but it isn't a blue one, so interesting.
Gotta watch out. We got Nekodar here with us, or Nikodar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, in hindsight, I might have chosen the wrong one of those. I think I actually got them flipped because my Nightblade is Nikodo.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he could be a personal duel, I guess. I don't know.
Well,
Could
beware of those strutting lions who apply the title to themselves without waiting for it to be awarded.
I thought about it. I was laughing as I was reading it internally.
That is what made me think that we should read this one.
But the
We love you never.
Yeah, no. The first one, I do think that I can be rather inquisitive though. So, and I am a pretty good little thief. So it fits. It fits.
But it makes me think. If you look back, it's like, okay, so what about a Dusadaro?
Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And is the Re only like applied to men? Because what would it be for female leaders then?
Yeah, I mean, mains has there hasn't ever. I don't want to.
We don't have to say it. We don't have to say anything. We don't have to say anything because we don't want spoilers for other people. But for us, who, if you've played through the games and you look through it and it's like, what's the female equivalent of Re? Or why is it not listed also for females?
The poor Dromathra. The Bentens.
Anyway.
It may just be.
It was a good book. It was worth it.
When was this written? Let's see. This was.
Oh, this is base game. This is Canarthy's
base
Roost.
game book. Yeah.
So, it does mention that like Doe can go either way. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
supposedly,
maybe
if there hasn't been, or not, I mean, perhaps if there hasn't been a female main speaker, whatever, prior to, then it just had never been applied, but maybe could be if that need arose.
Oh, I'm sure there's been female queens though, so. Anyway.
Yep.
Anyway.
Yeah. I think that they should hire you to voice a character, Crazy.
That would be amazing. What an honor that would be.
So stepping back into the void,
Oh my.
how would your character... For No More Murder Hobos this week, we have 2 questions. 1, how would your character respond to being in the void? And 2, if you don't want to even contemplate that as a option, or don't want to think about being in the void, or just don't want to deal with that type of dark question, there's option 2, which is, what is your favorite flower, and why is it Nirnroot?
Ooh.
You can also give me an argument as to why it is not Nirnroot. That is fine as well.
I'm gonna have to think about this for a minute.
What is
You don't have to?
What are the plants that grow in the caves? And I guess that wouldn't be a flower. I think it's a fungus. The ones that glow. I think
The
that's...
glow shrooms?
Yeah, I remember them from Skyrim primarily.
Are they an alchemy ingredient?
Yeah, they were glow shrooms in Skyrim.
Probably. That's not what they were
Straight
called.
up glowing
though, right?
mushrooms. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it was glowing mushrooms. They were glowing mushrooms.
That they have a name for them, I think. But anyway, yeah, those aren't flowers. So I guess that doesn't.
Hey, we can count it. We can count it. You like glow shrooms, got it.
I just thought they
Specifically,
were...
the ones that you should not eat if you want to keep your sight.
Oh yeah. I just like that they were glowy. Nirnroot is pretty cool though, because it's not too often that you have a flower that makes noise.
This is true.
You know,
You
so
will always know where it is.
Unless
Yeah.
you pick up accidentally pluck a weed with a bumblebee chilling in it.
now it would
that
be
could be a
funny
problem.
if you couldn't sneak up on anybody because your darn Nirnroot wouldn't shut up.
They're like, you're like carrying a bag and you're like, I'm gonna go sneak up on this guard, and the guard's like, what is that?
Nirnroot
Oh
was
my gosh! If you no,
Could somebody
no.
write this into an RP story? Somebody do it. Oh my god. I want to do it so
I
bad.
am going to ruin this for you. But once you pluck Nirnroot,
It
you don't
stops.
hear the noise anymore. So once you
True.
pluck it, it stops singing. You'd have to like dig it up and put it in a pot. You'd have to have a potted Nirnroot.
I was just going to say Nirnroot would be responsible for the downfall of the Dark Brotherhood.
I thought that was you, Mr. I slaughtered the Dark Brotherhood
I
and
sure
didn't
did.
actually complete the quest.
I sure did.
my
Well, I did
gosh,
complete the quest
you're
for
the worst.
defeating the Dark Brotherhood, and it was very
That's not
unsatisfactory.
that's called the cop out because you decided to report them to the cops.
No, I just went and killed them. But it was very unsatisfying because it was literally like, just go to this place and kill everybody instead of there being like any kind of real quest. I was very, very sad.
That's because you're not supposed to kill them.
Well,
I'm so
it gives
disappointed in you
it
still.
gives you the option though, and my character was a good guy, so that's just the way that I was playing that particular playthrough. I thought it would be a bigger quest to have to go and find them and take down one little place and get information for the next. Nope,
Hey.
Nice.
wasn't that at all.
I'd say to the void with you, but you're already here.
That's
Yes.
Okay.
I think I've responded pretty well to being in the void. I've managed to host a show and
Only realize your name is maybe a little wrong. No, I'm
have-
just kidding.
Hey, I've already
At
given
least
that.
you didn't name yourself
I'm
Doe,
kidding.
okay? At least you,
You
didn't
did
name
it.
yourself
You did.
Doe. So, we won't tease you.
No. Okay, so I'm gonna give you the plant answer. I do love Nirnroot because it's a Skyrim thing, right? How can you not love Nirnroot? It's one of those things that you're
I
like,
thought
this
it
is the
was an
most-
Oblivion thing.
Well, maybe. Yeah, it was actually technically an Oblivion thing. You're right. But I'm just saying, like, it's one of those things where it's just so ridiculous. How can you not like it? It's a plant that makes noises. But for ESO, I'm going to go with the more practical answer, which is one of the plants that I like is blessed thistle or blessed thistle, because that's one of the ingredients that I use in weapon
power pots all the time, so without that, I am not as strong.
That is a good practical reason to like a plant.
Yeah. It's not my favorite looking plant, but I do like it.
I never said what was your favorite looking plant. I said what was your favorite flower.
Well, technically my favorite flower is a sunflower, which is why I like High Isle. But you get my drift.
But I also said why is it Nernroot, and we all know Nernroot. Someone designed Nernroot going, how can we make weeds more annoying?
Yeah, and we can even change their color. Sometimes we can make them crimson.
Yep.
It's good stuff right there.
Hey, this isn't entirely related, but it might be a little bit. I'll let you finish with your question first.
Oh, that's it. I'm done.
Okay. Did you want to add, Gwen?
To what?
To your question. Did you want to answer your question?
I shouldn't answer my own questions.
Okay. You don't have to. I was just asking if you wanted to. You brought up that the Nernroot is maybe an Oblivion thing.
Mm-hmm.
And have you guys seen the rumors that they may be announcing an Oblivion remake like next
I
month?
thought they already did.
No, they've been saying that though for a while. It's because when they released all that Microsoft stuff with the lawsuit shenanigans, there was one listed in there. But it's not confirmed, but at the same time I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, there's not
confirmed.
There's apparently like insiders that think that it's going to be announced
Like soon.
like next month, or that it possibly could even launch next month.
If that happens,
So April
I
Fools?
feel so bad for the guy who's been working on Skyblivion for like years. Years.
Well, I was just going to say, just based on that rumor, it would be interesting if it gets announced sometime, around the ESO Direct that's in April. Mm-hmm. If they decided to do that. I saw another thing about Todd Howard has said that he hopes to have another game launch like stealthily.
Excuse you, never. We are not a tabloid. We do not deal in rumors. We are a proper news outlet.
I only said that because you brought up Oblivion, and I was just curious if y'all had seen it, and I was just, anyway. But I just thought it was interesting. The timing of that would be kind of interesting if it ended up being around the same time. But anyway, yeah, we won't go too far down that road. I was just curious. So I guess that pretty much wraps everything up. Just announcements and such. Mm-hmm. So
that's a thing that should have been talked about. Like an act. Oh wait, never mind. Moving on.
You can't do that to us, Gwen.
It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. My brain jumped back to a thing, but then canceled it out with another thing, and so now we're just at announcements.
Is it an irreverent elephant?
Wow. What on earth?
She said irrelevant, so I like to call that irreverent elephant.
Oh boy.
Sorry, go ahead, Gwen.
So guild announcements. Mondays with Moki, fishing or Cyrodiil. We're going to go fishing for something. That is Mondays at 8 p.m. Central Time. And then Treacherous Tuesday Dungeons. There is dungeons. They exist. Is there stuff you want to do with them? Run them. Stories, achievements. Do the dailies. There's so many things that can happen with dungeons. However, there is no actual set time for this. It is just do dungeons with your friends today. We all try to do dungeons. If there's time, look at Tuesdays. And then Fearless Friday with Artheria Dragoon, because of course we are the Undaunted.
Undaunted? We're undaunted?
We are
Undaunted.
At 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern. If there's another time that you like to choose, please use your converter. They're all in Discord anyway. Okay. It converts it to your local time for you. And that is, we group up, do the dealies, led by our wonderful lead Arthuria Dragoon, and whether you want to do it on normal or vet or a mixture of them, they get them done.
Get her done.
So, the other thing I mentioned earlier, we talked about guilds, and I said if you were interested in lore and wanted to hang out with people like us, or us, you can do that. If you want to come and be a lore seeker, all you've got to do, download Discord and head over to loreseekers.club and just kind of follow the prompts there, and you can apply to join the guild. And usually takes a day or so to get your application looked at and approved, and then you can come hang out with us in game. We're on every platform. PlayStation is where all of us are. The other two are also on PC. I am not. And we have an Xbox guild as well. So come hang out with us if that's something that you're interested in doing. As for the Snugpod, if you want to reach out to us, there's a couple different ways you can do that. You can hit us up on the platform formerly known as, it's now X, at Snugpodcast. Or you can email us at snugpodcast@gmail.com, and I will get around to reading those in a couple of months. And for those of you who maybe are looking for ways to listen or watch, would someone like to share how they might do that?
Sure. If you're here with us, you might be watching us on twitch.tv/snugpodcast, or maybe even on YouTube at Snugpodcast, if you're searching for it there. If you don't want to watch us, though, and you're like, no, it's too much, I don't want to look at them in the void, I just want to hear them from the void, well, you can do that too. You can find us on almost pretty much any podcatcher of choice of yours. Typically, we're on Spotify. Wow. He's from the void. He was making the void noises. Wow. Yeah. You can find us over coming to you from the void on Spotify or Google or any of those places where you can find podcasts. So yeah. While you're there, hey, give us a rating. Why not? Give us 5 stars. I don't know. Sprout Girl says, I thought it had a hint of Nernroot to the noise. Absolutely. It did. All it needed was a few extra chimes. But yeah, so you can find us in any of those places.
Yes, you can.
I'm shaking my head.
And Spotify also has comments. Some of the other ones might too. So you can not only leave reviews, but leave comments, questions, feedback. Tell us how ridiculous you think we are. We don't really get offended by that, because that's kind of the point. We're just hanging out and having fun together. So anyway, also, it's just fun for me to do things to try to throw people off. So hence the void sounds. Yeah. I'm a little mischievous cat. What can I say? Anyway, thanks for hanging out with us, and make sure to grab your tabard. And one day maybe you'll be able to hide it. So.
Oh boy.
Anyway, do either of you have anything else to add before we close out?
No.
All right. Well, for those that have been in here with us live, thanks for hanging out with us. It's always fun to have a little feedback while we're going. And for those of you that are listening to this at another time, we thank you as well. Thanks that you would choose to let us be part of your day, and hopefully it's a good part of your day. And we will be back soon. And, well, at least Crazy will.
I'm always back soon.
Yeah. So, anyway, until next time, take care of yourself, take care of others, be a decent person, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Sleep well, Tamriel.